Hey guys, Anders here, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we'll be going over the big Season 3 dev notes on the vehicles in Battlefield 2042. There was a big post made on the day of the patch by DICE. This is from the vehicle design team over at DICE Sweden, and it goes over a lot of things that are actually going to improve vehicle gameplay drastically, in my opinion. Unfortunately, it's not a full mechanical redesign of every single vehicle in the entire game, which is actually what Battlefield 2042 needs, but there are some things that have been asked for by the community for a very, very long time listed in this post. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I stream every day on Twitch, twitch.tv/enders, link is in the description. Also, join the Discord. Been seeing a ton of you guys go in there, so that's pretty freaking awesome. Let's start getting into this post. The first section of this vehicle post is basically just the vehicle team people talking themselves up for designing and implementing the railgun tank into the game. So we're just going to skip completely past that onto the next section that is actually worth reading, the active protection system. They start talking about this because, as we know, the APS system, or active protection system, was added in Season 2 with the addition of the EBLC RAM, which is the little, it looks like the Staghound from Battlefield 5, if you don't know what I'm talking about. And of course, with the addition of a vehicle that is the sole user of the APS system, people complain that, hey, you know, all tanks should have the APS system, kind of like Battlefield 4, you know, the AA had APS, the battle tanks had APS, the BMPs have APS, and that's how it really realistically should be. And they've said, we know this is something the community has been asking for, especially on the likes of the main battle tanks, so hopefully all of the main battle tanks and the AA guns will receive APS in the future, just for continuity's sake, because I remember in Battlefield 5, the Pacific released, and the Pacific vehicles had 6 perks you could choose from, while the base game vehicles only had 4 perks you could choose from. And obviously that just creates an inherent imbalance, and the same sort of thing happens if you add APS and only give it to the new vehicles without adding it back to the old vehicles. So hopefully they can just completely avoid that and do the right thing and give these vehicles APS. The next section here is one of the biggest sections of this entire post. They're talking about turret speeds, and as we all know, Battlefield 2042 tank turrets are the worst feeling tank turrets potentially ever put in a video game. And I don't think that's an exaggeration in the slightest, especially if you've experienced the way turrets should feel on tanks. If you've played Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 1 for that matter, the turret speeds and the general feel of aiming in a tank in 2042 is abysmal. But thankfully, they're finally making changes to this, and they are sort of looking at making turrets increase their speeds based on what ammo types you're using. So there's 3 different speeds. There is the medium speed turret, which is increased from how it is right now by 100%. There is the slow speed, which is increased by how it is right now by 65%. Then there's the fast speed, which is increased by 140%. On the main battle tanks, if you are using the MPAT or staff shell, your turret speed will be increased by 100%. If you're using the HE shell, you will only see an increase of 65%. If you're using the railgun tank, if you're using the regular cannon for that, it'll be increased by 100%. And if you're using the slow, big, massive damage cannon, it'll be increased by 65%. If you're using the RAM, if you're using the 40mm rocket pods or the missiles, the fast speeds on those are actually untouched completely. But if you're using the howitzer, they're actually decreasing the turret speed on the howitzer for some reason, as if anyone actually used the howitzer shell on the RAM. And finally, on the Wildcat, if you're using the 30mm AA guns, the turret speed is increased by a whopping 140%. If you're using the 40mm, it is increased by 100%. And if you're using the 57mm, it is increased by 65%. Hopefully these changes will actually make a difference when it comes to tank gameplay in Battlefield 2042, because in my opinion, these are the worst tanks ever added to a Battlefield game, and that is compounded by the fact that there are simply a ludicrous amount of counters to ground vehicles in this game, some of which I would argue are pretty much unavoidable, like LIS TV missile rocket spam. Good luck. I mean, seriously, good luck avoiding that. Lastly, in this post, they are addressing some things with air vehicles. So the first thing they're adding to the game is below radar. Now, longtime players of the Battlefield franchise will know exactly what below radar is. It is from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, and it was a system that allowed you to fly extremely close to the ground, and would essentially allow you to not get locked on by a ton of things. The trade-off is obviously you have to be a fairly decent pilot to not crash and burn into the ground to actually utilize below radar. But still, it was a cool mechanic in the game, and I'm happy to actually see this return. Some notes about below radar. First of all, if you're being locked onto above 30 meters and then you drop into that 30 meter below radar zone, you will still get locked onto. Second of all, below radar does not counter infantry-based lock-ons. So things like SOFLAM, recoilless rifles, or stingers, you will still be able to lock onto things that are below the 30 meter below radar mark. And finally, they're planning on adding height limits, which is a huge change for this game. Everyone that has experienced the just stratospheric attack helicopters shooting you with the 30mm cannon knows that they needed to add height limits a long time ago. These changes are not in the game yet, but I'd imagine they're coming later in Season 3, which would definitely be a nice addition to the game and a nice addition to the season as a whole. It should be noted, though, that with the height limits, jets are actually not affected in this tweak, and that could actually put helicopters in a pretty sticky situation if you're trying to fight a jet and a helicopter and it just simply flies higher than you can actually go. You're pretty screwed. So that's about it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders, and I'm playing in a $20,000 Gundam Evolution tournament on Saturday. If you guys don't typically get to watch my streams because maybe I stream when you're working, don't worry, because Saturday is probably going to be a 12+ hour stream. We're playing against, currently right now, 43 teams that are signed up for this tournament, and it's a double elimination bracket, so it is going to be a long, long day. It's going to be very, very sweaty, and I'd love to see some of you guys come through for that tournament, watch me compete. It's going to be intense. So thank you guys so much for watching. Follow my Twitch, and I will see you guys later.